Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at painting one of these Wicker defense pieces that's recently been released as part of its own kit on the Warlord website. So the first thing we're going to do is pick a colour to prime it in. I've already scrubbed the surface with hot soapy water and dried it off, and that gets rid of any mould release on the resin, and that stops the paint from sticking. So now we've cleaned it off, that should all be fine. So I think I'm going to paint this the primer in a brown colour, and then once that's done we can make it look like it's a Kent countryside with some nice grass and some nice vibrant colours on the little pieces. So if you don't know what this is used for, in games like Pike and Shotte you'd be placing your cannon just behind this little barricade here. You can also include a gabion, which are the little wicker baskets full of rocks, as a defensive feature. So like mine, you could have it on a base and it slots in there, or you could just glue your cannon or your artillery piece directly into this once it's painted. So that's primed with Oak Brown, primer by Army Painter. And we're going to start off by doing ground cover around the edge. And we're just going to cover as much of the sand. We don't really have to worry if we cover any of the small little accessories on the base at this point. So we're just going to get some on our brush and drag that very lightly just anywhere we can see this ground texture. There we go. It's going to make a nice little contrast colour from the brown base, and it's going to give us a place to go then to brighten it up. And it's not going to be such a stark contrast when we add static grass over the top then. We're also going to dry brush the boards with a little bit of the same colour, this time just going against the board grain, just to pick out some of that edge texture. So for the next colour we're going to go a little bit brighter, and we're just going to mix in a tiny little bit of ice yellow into our medium drab, and then very, very lightly I'm just going to bring it down over this texture. And for now, that's all of the ground texture finished. So for all the wicker, we're going to start with this prairie ochre, which is sort of a browny green, so it's going to give a little bit of life to the dry wicker that's been used to weave the wall. So at this point you're not being super neat, but you are trying to leave a little bit of that base oak brown colour coming through. So that's the wicker wall base coated in prairie ochre, and we're going to move just a little bit up the colour spectrum to desert yellow. This is part of the ochres and tans. So ochre, prairie ochre sits a little bit down there, and then desert yellow sits sort of near the middle up there, so that's going to be a really nice highlight colour for us. And we're going to use this just to highlight each of the bits of wicker, trying to leave a little amount of the prairie ochre and still some of that oak brown showing through as well. I'm just going to pop a little highlight there and across the centre of these, just where you think maybe the light might hit the wall. There we go, so that's all the highlights across the front of the wicker fence. And so now we're going to move up one more shade to burnt tuft, which again is much higher on that scale of ochres and tans. This highlight is a lot smaller than everything we've done before, so we're just trying to pick out small areas of the wicker that might catch the most light. So the very centre, the very top, anything like that. So just little highlights. You'll find as we go up the highlights, each of these stages gets quicker because you're highlighting or painting less of the model. There we go. So with that final highlight, that's brought the fence up really nice and bright for us on both sides, so it really stands out against the earth next to it. Next we're going to do these cannonballs here. So for this I like to get a little bit of silver, so we're going to use plate mail. For these again we're trying to leave a little bit of the brown, because that will help outline it against the ground and just give it a little bit of rust or depth or something. There we go. There we go. So they've all been picked out, and the last step for these cannonballs is just to mix up some occultist cloak. So mix up, we're just going to pour it into the palette and we're just going to give it a little stir with our paintbrush, and then we're going to slather that all over. So we're making sure we get this into the cracks around them, anything like under here where they're sort of piled up. And this gives it like a little bit of a blue tint, and also darkens them down as the silver was a little bit too bright. So when that dries, we'll have a little bit of the metallic showing through, but it won't be as bright. And it shows up really nicely against the ground cover. So we're going to move on to the wooden boards in the centre now. So we could use the same colours we've used on the fence, but it would make it look very samey and it'd be difficult to tell whether they were different materials. So we're going to go for different colours for this. So we're going to still move along the brown. So we're going to go for bootstrap brown, leather brown, and paratrooper tan. And for this, we're going to almost paint in some of the wood texture by just doing some very fine, very light strokes with the brush across each of the planks, like that. Now it helps if you've got a little bit of water on your brush, because if the paint's too dry, it'll tend to stick and you won't get a clean line. So just a couple of lines like that, just to imply that there's wood grain. I'm just going to carry that all the way along. If you curve the brush a little bit, you might get a little knot in the wood. And you're just trying to do that across each plank before moving on to the next step. And then we're just pulling paint down, trying to imply that there's a little bit of wood grain on there, like that. We're just going to do that across the whole thing. Okay, so that's the leather brown. And then we're going to move on to the very last highlight, which is paratrooper tan. Now, one of the tips for getting your wood grain nice and thin, and also so you can get it most of the length of the plank. So instead of holding your brush near the ferrule, that's this metal bit at the front, which will give you little strokes, if you hold it further back and brace your hand off part of the model or the table, you can get a longer stroke on the brush. And it'll also help that you're swinging in and out to try and get a very fine stroke down the plank that way. Do some little strokes, then we can move out. If we want to do a longer one, we can move our hand further down the brush. And that just gives us a couple of little very fine highlights on the wood. And that's where the light's hitting the highest point along the grains. There we go. So that's all of the wood grain highlighted. So it's still quite bright, but I really want to define the gaps between these boards. So I'm going to pick up some soft tone, and we're just going to wash it quite liberally, pulling that across the boards. And the reason we're pulling it this way and not down is because when we go this way, it'll just trap the soft tone into those little gaps. There we go. So we're just going over the whole thing. So that's the soft tone on the wood, and it just gives it a nice distinction from the wicker on this side. And we're going to move on now to this little chest here. So you could just paint this in exactly the same way you've done these boards, but it can be a nice way to tie it into your army colours. So in this case, I'm going to pick blue. So we're going to start with quite bright blue. We're going to start with regal blue. And we're going to paint in, just block in all of the chest using this colour. So you can at this point avoid these little metal straps on here. And then once this is all blocked in, I'm going to go to the highlight. We're just going to pick out little lines across each of the planks. So we've got one plank there, one plank there. And very similar to how we did the boards, we're just sort of dragging our brush along and letting it leave those little lines to show the wood grain on each of the planks forming the chest. And we're next going to move to Arctic Gem, which is quite a pale blue, and that's going to be the final highlight. So we're just going to run this just around the edge of the chest. We're also going to use the side of our brush and just go down the sides of the chest. And we're just going to pick out these little straps that are on the top, like that. I'll leave a little bit of the brown showing through because it's obviously an old chest, there might be some rust or dirt on it. And then same on the side here, we can use the same colour to pick out the little handle. And while we've got this colour out, it's still on our palette, we can go over to the bucket and we can just use it to pick out the rim of the bucket, because that's made of metal, like that. And we're going to get some strong tone, and we're going to wash the metal along the top of the chest here, and we're going to use that strong tone to wash this little sack in the corner over the metal and letting it just leak over the sides of those metal bands just to accentuate the bands themselves. It gives a little line around the outside so you know where the wood ends and the metal strap begins. And we're going to absolutely cover this little sack in the strong tone as well, and that'll bring out all the nice little creases that it has and create some shadows. So I'm just going to do that, make sure it gets into that little hole around it so it just makes it look like it's dug into the floor. There we go. And then we're going to go over to the bucket and also just absolutely saturate that with strong tone and over all the metal. What this will do is just darken that metal down in the bucket, and it'll give us a nice base for painting the bucket itself. So we only have to do one highlight on the bucket to make it look really nice. If some leaks around it onto the base, that's fine, because that'll just again show a little shadow where it's sitting. And we can also, when we've got the strong tone out, there's a gap that runs down the centre of this wicker fence, and we can just work the strong tone right the way down the middle and just make it look as if that area again is in shadow. We can start highlighting that basket. So we're going to go back to leather brown, and then we're not going to highlight a lot of this because it's quite nice as it is with just the strong tone on it. And just around the top here, I'm just going to pick out some of the folds in the material, and then around this bit here. Now as you're moving around, the strong tone might mix in with the colour you're using, but that's fine. It's okay, it just makes it look a bit more organic. Such a stark contrast in the highlight as it would be on a solid object. There we go, a little dab in there. Brilliant, and that's our little sack finished. We put a couple of highlights just down the side of the bucket. Again, little dashes to imply that there's wood grain. And while we're here, we can also pick out the little rope for the bucket that comes around this side. So we've got 2 more steps to do, and that's going to be adding some grass to it. So for the grass, we're going to use 2 different things. We're going to use our battlefield grass, static grass, and battlefield grass green, which is like a fine sawdust. So I'm going to start with the sawdust, and we're going to once again pick up a really tatty brush, grab a little bit of PVA, which is on my palette, and then we're going to dab that around wherever we think this sawdust mix should go. So this is here to represent a really low ground cover, so little shrubs, little bushes maybe, things that maybe would be mixed into grass when it's not a pristine lawn. How we use this is very similar to the static grass in that we'll sort of open the tub. There we go. It's a very fine powder almost, so we're just going to take a little pinch of it and then sprinkle it where we want it there. And once it's on, just tap it off, and there's a little bit of cover that we put on. There we go. So we're just going to do that. And this will just, instead of having just static grass, this will add like a little bit of variation in the foliage, and already it's brightening the base up, make it a little bit more like the countryside rather than a bare battlefield that just had some grass placed on it. And then we can move on to the static grass. This we can maybe put it near where this grass was, and the idea at this point is going to be to cover up quite a lot of that brown muddy ground that we painted on earlier, because this is a lush field in the middle of Kent. So we're just going to brush that on wherever we think it should go, right, leaving some little bits of earth behind. Got a static grass, and the same as before with the sawdust, we're just going to be sort of placing it or sprinkling it onto where we want it, pressing it in. And I think we'll put a little bit more PVA along this front half so we can have some static grass around the front here. What you might find is that after you've put it all over where you wanted it to go, it's also where you didn't want it to go. So we've got quite a few bits along here. There's a couple of bits that have fallen in there and around the bucket. So we can we'll wash the PVA off our brush. It just doesn't go hard. I can't use the brush anymore. And then we're going to pick up a clean brush. So I've got this Daler roundy brush here, and we're just going to just dust it. There we go. And that'll take off any of the extra static grass we don't want. I'll pick it up onto the brush for us. Just get that off. There we go. Same around here. We don't want it there. And around the bucket. Brilliant. At this point, if you want to, because there is a small rim around the edge of it, you can grab some of your, whichever colour you use, black or brown, or even a green. I like to use oak brown, and then I'll just fill in the edges of the base with that, and it just makes it look nicer when it's on the tabletop. But that is a finished Wicker defence. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time.